Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the Japanese model for the month ahead. It's JMA Friday, as always, so that'll be taking us to the end of October. We're also going to have a look at the central temperature. We've had the number coming for September. Very interesting developments that's taking place in terms of the CET. And also have a look at tonight's rain in the next week's 10 days as well. So loads to be getting on with today. I really have got to rush through today because we've got loads to talk about. Just say about the ads, there's links to articles sitting underneath the weather video here on my homepage at gazweathers.com. If you have browsed through the widget, you'll be able to see what the articles are about. It should be able to change, so you shouldn't be stuck with the same one. If there's anything you're interested in, click through and you'll be able to go off and read the article. There's also green keyword ads on some of the pages. If you right cursor over green keywords, they'll display ads, but if you click through the words, you go to the advertising website. You'll be supporting gazweathers.com. Thanks so much for doing that. So as I said at the start, we've got the central temperature number in for September now. We came out at 15.1, which is an anomaly of 1.5 degrees above average, so a warm month. And interestingly, very interestingly, this comes out warmer than August. August with a central temperature of 14.9, which was an anomaly of 0.8 degrees below average. Now that's very unusual to get September warmer than August. So last time it happened was 2006. I can show you the full monthly central temperature index here from Hadley going back to the year 1659. It's the longest temperature index anywhere in the world. As I say, the last time this happened, but it had September warmer than August, was in 2006. What happened then is that August 2006 came out at 16.1. September, exceptionally warm September that year, came out at 16.8. That's actually a September record. It was mainly, interestingly, made up of minimum temperatures. It was the nights that were very, very warm during September 2006, and that was a new record, and I think it'll be a long time probably before we beat that. The last time before that, but we get August and September tied anyway, was 1985. That year we get both August 1985 and September coming out at 14.6. And then the only other year I can find back to the start of the 20th century, anyway, I've not gone fully back to 1659, but the only other year I can find with September warmer than August was 1956. And what happened that year is that we had an exceptionally cold August coming out at 13.5. I think that's the second coldest August in the full Central England temperature index. The actual coldest is August 1912. But yeah, exceptionally cold August 1956 at 13.5, and that allowed September to be warmer at 14.3. Nothing to write home about, really. Certainly nothing like what happened in 2006. But it's just because August was so very, very cold in 1956 that it allowed September to be warm. But it's a very unusual occurrence, and it's very unusual actually to get this happening in 2014, so close to 2006, because it's one of those things that would only normally happen once every 40-50 years maybe. So very unusual developments have taken place this month with Central England temperature. September coming out warmer than August. Very often, of course, it's a very rapidly cooling time of year, August in September, I mean September to October, so that's the reason it's so unusual. Now, in terms of the Central England temperature for 2014, we're still running the warmest on record. It's this green bar just here, and you'll see, but it is a little bit higher than any other of the blue bars, telling us that 2014 is currently still on course to be the warmest year in terms of Central England temperature since records began. The previous warmest was 2006, the year I was just talking about, with that record-breakingly warm September. Also had record-breakingly warm July, and it was a very, very warm second half to the year. That, up to now, has been the warmest year on record, but we're a little bit above it for 2014. Not a great deal in it, though. It will probably only take another cold month, maybe another couple of cooler than average months sometime between now and December to take us under 2006. So it'll be very interesting to see how that develops. We may get the warmest year on record, or we may just avoid it if we get a cold month. We'll see how it goes. Now, as I said at the beginning, we've had the update from Japan. It's JMA Friday, as always. So we've got the 500 millibar height anomalies here broken down into weekly periods. The first week period will take us up to the 9th of October. Remember, blue is telling us where we've got low pressure. Orange is telling us where we've got high pressure. British Isles is upside down just there. So we're seeing that for the coming week. This is the week that we're in, taking us up to the 9th of October. We've got a trough of low pressure around the country. It's going to be an unsettled week with showers or longer spells of rain. We'll have a look at the detail on that in a moment. The second weekly period, this one takes us up to the 6th. Will be another unsettled week by the look of it. We've got the below average heights again out in the Atlantic. We've got the ridge of above average heights up to the northeast of the country. A little bit closer, and maybe the winds are more southerly based with this. So it could be a warmer week, and perhaps not quite as unsettled out to the east. The trough is perhaps being pushed a little bit more to the west, but overall I think that's still a relatively unsettled signal, particularly for the west of the country, less so in the east. And then as we go through to the third and fourth weekly periods, and this one ends at the 30th of October, I should say. This one shows that winds are reverting more to an Atlantic-based scenario. So we've got the trough of low pressure in the Atlantic. We've got the ridge developing down to the south of the country, and it means that the jet stream is more or less running through on a westerly flow. So we're reverting back to a more typical type pattern there. Driest in the south and the southeast, wettest up in the north and the northwest, and the flow is very much Atlantic based, but that's still relatively unsettled, particularly for the north and the west of the country. So it is seeing, I think, the Japanese model quite an unsettled October coming up. Now, talking about unsettled weather, we're breaking down the prolonged high pressure that's been with us through September, and it's happening right now. We've got a cold front coming down across the country. So these are the rainfall forecasts from the high-resolution Euro 4 model from the website Weather Online. You can find a link to Weather Online on my links page. This is rainfall forecast for midnight tonight. We've got a band of heavy rain there stretched out across southern Scotland, down into Ireland, through the Irish Sea, northern England and into Wales. That rain gets stuck overnight, so it could be a very, very wet night indeed for parts of northern England, south Scotland and Wales and southwestern England. This sway just here could be very, very wet tonight, with that rain becoming really stuck. Torrential bursts of rain running along that weather front. So yeah, I think a really wet night coming up. Could be some local flooding with over 50 millimetres of rain possible in some places. But it'll all get a shove on as we go through into Saturday. The cold front will come across England and Wales, giving us a wet morning, and then as we go into Saturday evening, this is 6 o'clock in the evening, the rain is clearing away onto the eastern coast. Will lead to a clear and quite cold night on Saturday night. Not a bad day actually for Sunday, although by the end of Sunday the next area of low pressure will be knocking on the door, and here we are at 6 o'clock in the morning on Monday with that low pressure sweeping off the Atlantic, really tight packed ice bar. So there'll be gales on Monday morning and a band of heavy rain coming across all parts of the country through the course of Monday. A proper wet and windy start to next week. Best of rainfall forecast from the GFS models show that it will be a very wet day, and then that low pressure sticks around really for the rest of the week. So here we are on Wednesday with the low pressure out to the west of the country, tight packed ice bars. So it's going to be windy. There'll be showers, longer spells of rain rotating around that low pressure, and gales in the west as well. As we get through towards the end of next week, the low pressure is still in control, this time moving to the north of Scotland, but it'll still be showery. And then maybe next weekend the GFS latest run wants to build this very transient ridge of high pressure in off the Atlantic, maybe settle things down. It won't be warm, but it might settle down for a day or two, but it doesn't last, and by the time we get through Tuesday the 14th, the next low pressure is quickly flattening that ridge off and bringing more wet weather in. So this is very much seeing, the GFS very much seeing a really unsettled first half to October at the very least. And of course it ties in with what we was just looking at from the Japanese volatile showers, longer spells of rain. Now, an interesting update from the ECMWF finally. This is for a week's time, Friday. The main area of low pressure can be dominated through the week is to the north of Scotland, so that's in agreement with the GFS. But look at this low pressure down over Portugal. GFS doesn't have this on the latest run, but it is flirting with the idea on some of the updates. As we go through 24 hours, that low pressure has moved from Portugal up across England and Wales on Saturday the 11th. Now, there's some very warm air entrenched within that low pressure from Portugal, but also that's fueling a lot of very heavy rain. So if that's right, it's going to be really, really wet on Friday into Saturday next week. We'll have to keep an eye out for that one. It may not come off, but certainly the ECM is going for it at the moment, and the GFS is sort of toying with the idea on some of its updates. And then we end up day 10, Monday the 13th, still with low pressure in control. Another low pressure actually off the north coast of France, maybe threatening more heavy rain across England and Wales. So it does look as though the low pressure is starting now. It's all breaking down from the fine weather that we've had through September, and I think we're really going to know about it through the next first half of October. Or rain bandwidth that being used to through September, very dry month of course. Autumn really is setting in now, but of course it's well overdue. We're into October, so you expect it to be turning autumnal, and I think we're going to know about it over the next few days. It's a weekend forecast tomorrow. It's going to be an unsettled one, first unsettled weekend forecast for a long time, so come back for that tomorrow, and that's all for now. Thanks for watching.